everyone, Intuitive Kathleen Miller, and this is your February Intuitive Energy Forecast. And I am so excited coming to you live from Chattahoochee Hills, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, and very excited today to be, a lot, really dynamic change from January to February. And if you do follow these monthly, you may remember in January that we had really that calling back of power, the clearing sort of the boundary lines with rescue projects, as well as the having your own back, that falling in love with self and really more commitment to self-love. So those were really big themes for January, which of course will keep segueing into February. But February is really shifting because a lot of what January was about was really recalibrating and pulling back in the pieces that were leaking and, really correcting, the bandwidth that could be better. So now as we move into February, we're really, it's this new foundational, this new growth that's going to be, once it's going, it's going to really go in 2026. So we're going to start with, the elements are actually metal, tree, ether for this month. And the first one we're going to start with is actually metal element. And what I was hearing and bringing from source was the reinforcing your metal element. Okay, so this can mean a couple things on different levels. But when you think of metal, of course, it's trace elements for the biochemistry of the body to be very strong. All of the stress, as well as the EMF, I'm going to talk about a little bit more. This is really zapping our minerals. For me, I take multiple mineral supplements in different ways, and I really encourage people, of course, make sure it's appropriate for your diet and healthcare. I'm not giving nutritional advice here, but to just make sure you have a strong, high quality mineralization to support you. Okay, this is just really foundational, because if we're missing trace elements, we're not going to be absorbing the nutrition and the vitamins out of our foods the proper way. So super important to do. So we want to be reinforcing this. But this also can be on the mental level, obviously metal being strong, really reinforcing our mental well-being. So this is, whatever self-care aspects help you to have that space so that we're offsetting or decompressing in the right balance to whatever kind of output and demands that are on us, which I know for some of us, it's, we're really stretched thin. I have many clients and many people in my life that I know are really stretched, or they're loose at the tethers, let's just say. So when you think about the nylon sheath on the nerves, when the minerals are low, that actually becomes more vulnerable, and we've got to protect this. Protects our brain, this protects our central nervous system. So again, this is the trace elements, but this is also the quiet time in nature. This is the grounding practices. This is what you need to have the mental capacity to be handling just what the world is doing right now. Because our work, if you're watching this, if you are at least a light worker, or you care, you just want peace on the planet, it can be as simple as that. We're really anchoring a line and a grounding node of peace globally and even to off planet. So this is super, super important to be doing. The other piece with metal that's actually relevant is the EMF balancing. So in moving here, as much as I love the space, I had a router like 2 feet from my head where I was sleeping. So the owners were so incredible to actually move the router upstairs, so I was able to get a good 12 feet plus of distance from it. This is so, so important, guys. If you are close to a router, not everybody's sensitive. I'm very sensitive with EMFs, and I was also very lucky to have people that cared to kind of have the well-being of that. And in my opinion, the Wi-Fi signal is one of the biggest, toxins and really health hazards that, if we're not keeping it minimized, can really be creating havoc that we may not really even realize. So you want to just be sure, go evaluate, make sure you're at a safe EMF distance, make sure you are, and again, the mineralization helps to strengthen our auric fields, because we're moving in and out of Wi-Fi fields all day long. And especially when people have, the high output, or you're in a space with a lot of other people living in close proximity, now you're overlapping Wi-Fi fields. These challenge the metal element, okay? It can overstimulate the metal element. So part of balancing the metal element is having those having the right space and proximity so that you're able to function optimally and immune function optimally, while still, of course, we need this because we're in a tech world. So we want to just find balance with that. So, and that's going to be the reinforcement. And so for me, as soon as that was moved, I could feel it. My body really relaxed from it, and it was really a night and day difference. So that's where that can make a big difference for you. So that's number one. Number two is what I heard was caring for new buds. And this is when we first start, even though we're still barely, so new into February, and sprouts really don't tend to come up till end of February, early March. But they were showing me this when it first comes up. If you have, all the bulbs that tend to come up in spring, and you've got that barely new. And a lot of times what can happen too, now more than ever, is the weather can be so it's more, warmer, and then it's a snowstorm. So we're having to really actually be more nurturing and supportive and anticipating this vulnerable stage of new growth. And so collectively, this is from all of the geomagnetic flows that have come in. We're anchoring it, we're beginning to embody it, but we're still in a vulnerable segue in this season that is needing to really allow everything that's opening, because what these geomagnetic waves, these solar waves are coming in, hitting our nervous systems, and it's activating codes within each of us in different ways that are opening new gifts, that are opening kind of a strengthening of capacities in some way, or a hypersensitivity for some people as well. So if you're hearing some, ringing in the ears, you're noticing some kind of strange, almost like your body's doing a little shaking reset, these are the system actually acclimating to these higher waves coming in. Nothing's wrong. It's helping to shake loose the outmoded. It's helping to shake loose for the planet to free up. And of course, in a fire year, this is also part of why that element, so the mineral element, is so important, because if we're not, what happens in fire, like think about a fever. When you have a fever, you're going to burn through, electrolytes are so important because you're burning through them faster. If we're really saturated and have a strong reserve of minerals, when these strong lights come in, we're able to stay balanced with it. We're able to move through kind of the waves that, aren't always so easy. So that's why that's so important. But also there's a quiet, and there's a kind of commitment of vigilance, of focus here too. Because if you think about gardening and, you have something that's vulnerable, you have to be giving it pretty consistent care. It's in that little newbie stage. So for many of us, these gifts that are opening, it's tending to them, it's being present with them. It's okay, what do I require from these things opening, which for some may be some healing capacities, or you're going to be teaching something new, or be creatively expressing something new. So letting that just organically open as you're ready. It will happen when you're ready. We don't want to force this, but it's also to just be mindful in the care, and maybe even journaling a bit around it is very helpful too. So that's 2. And then 3 is becoming the new synchronization. So part of these waves that are coming in that are now really anchoring into the grids globally, we've got to synchronize this, okay? And this is where because we are the physical bodies here actualizing these energies on the planet. So how that translates is, once our body embodies this light, codes open, those gifts open gently, now we're beginning to move into the world. And this can be it isn't really a dramatic thing at all. It can just be an energy that we're being in spaces that we're guided to. This can be conversations we are intuitively sharing with others about, that we don't even realize the way it's opening their universe, okay? Or it's contributing to them to help them find balance, and vice versa. because it's happening in both directions for us and with them. So our work to be as stable as possible, stability is really the name of the game in February. And it's stability in our pH balance and that mineralization. It's stability in being a stable, consistent temperature, all these different things for these new buds that are opening for each of us. It's the stable synchronization, so that as these very dramatic political, social issue, all these things that are really spiking to unprecedented levels, and I'm in no way saying any of that is okay. It can really put you from 0 to 100 in resistance and reaction. But being in that radical compassion to the best of our ability, and being in that stable space of what I'm guided to do is really, and I thank the universe every day, thank you for divine justice with all of these issues that are horrific in nature. And thank you for divine justice that is coming in. And what can we do if it's petition or, and not in a fighting way, but in a really seeing it in the way that it's going to a solution. How can, the natural energy changes and natural, all of these flows that are coming in with the higher dimensional, these new templates that are beginning to open as we are, again, that's part of the synchronization that we're being, which is more environmentally stable and aligned and practicing, which is more, that unity consciousness, peaceful to the best of our ability within the day-to-day. And it's not that we're not going to get furious, because there's a million things to get furious about. But to realize when we are in that anger and we are in that reactionary energy, we're actually more manipulated. You can be manipulated easier in that, but you're also disconnected to change it. So this is part of where, the more we can be aligned in the way we desire our country here to be, but also the way we desire whatever issue it is that you care about, and you're just in that intention and then synchronizing that. Now we're the creators that are opening that space more and more. So, new environmental solutions, new technology solutions that are clean, that are resource friendly, not resource, what is happening at the moment. So really asking for those, inviting those in, allowing, because there are those who are here to be part of those direct solutions. And so sometimes when we're just the energy of that stable opening for that, that's where those can step in and come in. So it's a very exciting month, very definitely doubling down on that focus for sure. A continuation of January too. So if you're still doing that self-love work, if you're still doing that, boundary cleanup, to me, that's kind of ongoing for us. And yet, bring that into February for sure as well. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I do have, as a resident now in Serenbe, a discount for everyone here in the area, but everybody's welcome to use it. It's on my site for the 45-minute session, which you can book anywhere because they are virtual. So please, I love hearing from you guys, and definitely more content that you'd like to hear about or questions you have. Let me know, because I will add that to definitely in consideration as I'm creating new content for everyone as well. Otherwise, have a fantastic month. Thank you guys so much for being here, and be well.